Welcome to Langriskaya, to another CoH2 replay cast. This time it's going to be from CoH2.org. Going to be sent in by VicPix, or rather uploaded by VicPix, who is a pretty much top tier 1v1 player. In the top pretty much 50, I believe, of all factions. And also, he's going to be playing as Soviets. His enemy is going to be Spander, playing as OKW. The name does ring a bell, but I'm really not sure who that is. I have never played against him. Or maybe I have, I just don't remember. So the reason I'm doing this replay is because referring to as VicPix, decided that it was a good idea to upload this replay because it was showcasing the KV2, which is one of my favorite vehicles in this game. And he decided that it was a cast-worthy replay, but no one casted it. And since tomorrow is a patch, I'll just cast it because, well, it's fun. And that will show, hopefully, the KV2, which is the best tank in the game, of course. So some Storm Pioneers are going to be attempting to push up on the right side, dealing some decent damage at long range against the Engineers, but the Engineers will hop into the building, easily able to protect themselves against the damage of the Storm Pioneers. But the Storm Pioneers will be capturing the point in the meantime. Some Volksgrenadiers. We also have Kugelwagen being produced by Spander, which will definitely help them out in capturing the left side of the map, and later on harassing the right side, and in general being a nuisance, increasing the capping power of the OKW a lot. So these infantry for the Soviets will easily be able to push back these Storm Pioneers because of the building cover that they had on them. So the advantage in cover will definitely help them out. The long range potential of the Storm Pioneers is not that good. So on Langriskaya they're not as dangerous as they would be on, for example, Simoski, or even just another close range focused map, which pretty much any map other than Langriskaya is more close range. Bit of a laggy spike. So some Volksgrenadiers, or rather the only Volksgrenadier, will be attempting to help out the Storm Pioneers. Now they're closing into close range, even though they should be fighting at longer ranges, so that's really weird. And of course this kind of awkward positioning of the OKW units pretty much forces them to retreat. The Volksgrenadiers will be wisely sent in against the capture, or rather the cut-off capture, which will pretty much deny the fuel point of the Soviets for a little bit, but the Soviet infantry is on its way to recapture it. We have a hurrah from the conscripts. Now that's definitely interesting, will allow him to pretty much close the distance fairly quickly with these folks who are also focusing down the Engineers. That's kind of a mistake. The focus fire of the Engineers pretty much allows the conscripts to get into cover unscathed. Of course, at this kind of close range, cover doesn't really take into effect, but this would pretty much allow still the conscripts being in a close range engagement against the Volksgrenadiers, which is what they want to be doing. But there's some Storm Pioneers going to be coming up to assist. Some idle conscripts down here are now starting to stir and get back into position to help out against the just advance that the Germans are making. The Kugelwagen is also pretty much at work, capturing a lot of points on the left side, which is excellent news for the Germans, as this is pretty much allowing them to have complete resource superiority. 23 fuel to 4 in income. So that's really good for the Germans, but some conscripts are making a flanking maneuver from the south, which will allow them to recapture the victory point and possibly be cut off, as these Volksgrenadiers with only 3 guys will not be able to hold the cutoff. Looks like the cutoff will be recaptured by the Engineers with low HP, which will pretty much free up the fighting units, aka the conscripts, to just push up and possibly even capture this house if he's quick enough. So the Ura will go down. That's definitely a good idea. That will, while that pretty much exhausts his munitions, this will allow him to just force the Volksgrenadiers away from this better defensive position, and will allow him to flank this unit, which is in green cover, and the flanking will easily force them to retreat. Now there's a second Volksgrenadier squad attempting to assist in this engagement, but they will also be flanked by the conscripts. There's also the Kugelwagen, which will try to capture the cutoff point in the center, which is a pretty good move, as there's no anti-tank grenades as of yet for the Soviets. These conscript squads will be in a very precarious location, and the... wow, only one guy, no, the Kugelwagen finally manages to snipe it. Almost got very lucky on that conscript. So that is a very good pickup for the OKW, which is pretty much all that they need, because right now they're taking map control, they're taking the engagements, so that's really good for the OKW, as they will pretty much have the late game against the Soviets most of the time. Though of course, strong KV2 doesn't think so, and it will definitely be good for Soviet. Anyway, MG34 is on the field, so we have the Fortifications Doctrine. Interesting, I was expecting the Luftwaffe Ground Forces Doctrine, but Fortifications can be pretty good. The Pak-43, while not too great of a unit, if there's one 1v1 map where the Pak-43 can be used, it's Langarskaya. Just placed behind over here, protecting the perhaps OKW SimCity that will be going down around here. That's pretty much the only way I see the Pak-43 being useful. There's also free support gun bulletins for Spander, so I'm guessing that's his game plan. It's gonna be use the hedge over here, set up battle group headquarters, make the camp, roast some marshmallows, and just attempt to win in the long game, which is a pretty decent plan. It usually will work, but it looks like he's going back into the base to put his battle group headquarters in the base. Now, I kind of disagree with this decision. A lot of players lately have been building their battle group headquarters at base, which is obviously because they want to keep control of that teching that they want. They want a safe spot for the tech, but my opinion over here would be just as safe a location as any at this point, because while the Soviets have been shown to have upgraded tier 2, so the mortar is a possibility for them, there's really not much to fear for the Germans if they are indeed going to go for some leads. And if they go for the leads, then the mortar, even if it goes on the field, if there's a mortar purchase, then that will not be able to counter the forward retreat point at the hedge, and will pretty much allow the Germans to maintain a lot more map control thanks to the shorter retreat path. So the Kubawagen is in a very big trouble, and it will probably be destroyed by these engineers. Yep, going to be finished off before it can retreat. There was also another conscript squad coming in to close the gap and avoid any kind of miraculous escape of the Kubawagen. So the Maxim machine gun will be able to push up. Lately, the Soviets have been getting some nice engagements on the right side, and this has allowed them to capture this house with their Maxim that they freshly built. There's also a second Maxim on the field, which will help them out in capturing the left side. Looks like there's been a bit of a mine war on the left side. There's Minesweeper upgraded, Pioneers, and Engineers, common Engineers that have been laying and demining on the left side, which is definitely good to see. It's definitely a mark of a bit more skilled play to have a lot of mine warfare going down. So the MG34 is being used very defensively, in my opinion. It could be sent to the left side to help out against these engineers and just not allow them to demine. If the MG was in this building, these engineers would be pretty much suppressed before they were able to minesweep. And it looks like the machine gun will be finally moved to help push against these Soviet infantry on the right side. But the Soviet infantry on the right side is also pretty much able to win its engagement on its own. And also the machine gun will be forced away by the Maxim flank. How many times do I get to say that? A Maxim flanking an MG34. That's very interesting. So there is a bit of fuel. What am I talking about? Not fuel. Munitions float. Brain fart. For Vipix, he just spent a bit of it. Oh no, okay. Looks like he was queuing up a demo charge somewhere, or perhaps a repair station. But what I would rather do is use the fact that these, the next time. Oh no, he was saving for a supply drop. Very interesting. A good thing about the supply drop for the Soviets is that if the OKW have gone for a Schwer, the plane flying over will be shot at by the Schwer, and it will probably be destroyed by the Schwer as well, which is the downside of it. But it will reveal the location of that headquarters. So you can use it as a bit of a makeshift recon against the OKW to know the location of the headquarters, which can be a fairly useful tool to get information. But Spander went for a mechanized regiment headquarters to supplement his battle group, and he will also go for a Puma. Now the Puma is very interesting At this point, he has noticed the Allied supply drop being called in, and I'm not sure what the third doctrine was. I'm thinking it was Shockfire for frontline. I'm sure he had, Vipix had guard motor coordination, so I'm really not sure what the third doctrine was, though. I'm guessing it was Shockfire for frontline, but I'm not sure if Spander knows which doctrines were available to Vipix. And if you had been paying attention in the loading screen, then he should probably know that the very likely selection is Soviet industry. So he should know that from the supply drop, of course, he knows that it's Soviet industry. So because the only other doctrine that has that is Lend-Lease, and I don't believe he has Lend-Lease available. So you should know that there's light vehicles coming in soon, and the Puma is the perfect counter to the Tier 3. The Soviet Tier 3 will pretty much have a bit of a struggle against the Puma. As you can see, Vipix immediately cancels the T-70. But the Tier 3 is not an empty purchase, because you will still be able to build SU-76s and later on upgrade to Tier 4 from Tier 3. Because, of course, without Tier 3 you cannot get to Tier 4. So it's not too much of a bummer for the Soviets to have used that fuel and those resources for the Tier 4 or the Tier 3. Right now the Germans have been pushing up, and they have taken pretty much the VP lead, shaving off 150 VPs from the Soviets. And that's a bit of an issue because, well, the longer the game goes, the more the Germans will be able to get some very nasty units on the field. And so it looks like some conscripts are attempting to push up against this pretty much fortress in the center. But the Volksgrenadiers that are pretty much omnipresent in the center will be easily able to repel this flanking conscript. There's also a Puma down here laying down some suppressing fire against the conscripts, but the AT gun is moving up to counter this, and they will be pretty much in range and able to deal some heavy damage to the Puma. There are no AT grenades as of yet for Vipix, which I would definitely advise him to get. Though I very much doubt that Spander will be foolish enough to get into close range of a conscript squad anyway. AT grenades or not, he does not know. So the SU-76 is on the field, and it will be able to dislodge the machine gun from the center position that it was occupying thanks to an artillery barrage. But a well-placed incendiary grenade will, well, it will actually not force anything to retreat because the conscripts need to move to the way better sandbag cover, and the Volksgrenadiers will actually just retreat to the base, which is interesting. It looks like one Volksgrenadier squad went down in that engagement somehow. Down here, it looks like, from a Maxim perhaps, just allowing it to die, which is a bit of a mistake. On the left side, the engineers are starting to do some harassment maneuvers. He will send in the Minesweeper engineer to harass, which is an excellent choice in place of the flamethrower engineer. The flamethrower engineer will be very useful in the center to deal with some of this cover that the Germans are likely going to attempt to take in the coming engagements. And now I need water, because I've been talking non-stop. Sandbags being built by Vipix. Looks like he didn't, oh no, he did go for a fuel infirmary, so he should probably be, looks like he was only now built a fuel infirmary. He should probably be going and replenishing his infantry and healing them up after he finishes off this sandbag. But it looks like the Puma is making a good attempt to counter-harass the engineers. Looks like it might have blown up a mine. I'm not sure. I don't think it has, but if it had, that would have been quite humorous. And the SU-76 will definitely be evenly matched with the Puma. If the Puma can manage to get its flank, it will pretty much easily destroy the SU-76. But the SU-76 does have a bit of a range and penetration advantage on the Puma. And also possibly rate of fire. SU-76's rate of fire is quite excellent. It's pretty much one of its main advantages over other tank destroyers in the game. Stern Pioneers attempting to harass the right side, but they will be caught and suppressed by the Maxim. There looks like there was a second Stern Pioneer purchase at some point in the game by Spander. He's also got another SWS supply half-track, and he will attempt to upgrade the Schwer Panzer headquarters in an interesting spot. Definitely going to be useful in holding the victory point and possibly some of the left side points. Maxim is attempting to push back against the Germans on the left side, and another supply drop goes down. Since the Schwer headquarters is going down, this will probably be the last supply drop that Vipix can put down and call in. The Tier 4 is on the field for the Soviets. Possibly a Katyusha would be an excellent decision for him to counter the, obviously, support gun and the MG and the infantry. So that would definitely be good, but the problem with the Katyusha right now would be the Puma, because the Puma is an excellent Katyusha hunter. Looks like the Puma, though, is going down from the Su-76. The smoke will be going in, will be going down, and the Su-76 will attempt to attack round shot along with the AT gun also taking an attack round shot, but unfortunately they will both just narrowly miss the target. Was definitely a very good attempt out of the Soviet player, Vipix, but it will not be enough to destroy that. Looks like the support gun was barraging the Vickers, we're casting too many British games. The Maxim machine gun on the right side. After all, the Maxim is a British machine gun as well, so the error isn't as bad as it could have been. It was barraging the Maxim on the right side shack, but the building was pretty much evacuated in time by the Soviet machine gunners. But at the same time, the Volksgrenadiers are attempting to push up against the Soviets on the right side, and they will take up the other building. The other building, of course, being reoccupied by some conscripts who were decapping the southern point. The Soviet engineers have managed to pretty much completely repair the Su-76, which is good. The Puma is also being repaired. No, it wasn't fully repaired, and it was sent in battle damaged, which is a very risky maneuver, because if there were anti-tank grenade, then this would mean that pretty much one anti-tank grenade would 100% of the time destroy the engine. Rather, damage the engine would be a more correct term. Obersoldaten are coming on the field for Spander, which is good. Good decision, because he had a lot of manpower float. Vipix also has a bit of manpower float, but he decided to go for an Su-85, which is an okay decision. It will definitely help counter some later vehicles from the Germans, and also, of course, it does counter the Puma. And of course, as you can see, the supply drop was shot down somewhere. Vipix called down another supply drop, but now he knows that there's a Schwer Panther quarters. And oh look, I've just built an Su-85, which does counter the Schwer, thanks to its long range. He will use the focus sight to pretty much spot for itself and shoot the headquarters out of range, but some Volksgrenadiers are starting to push back against the Su-85. Will be able to easily force away the Su-85, but some conscripts are starting to push into the left side to support the tank destroyer, and it will probably be also wise to reposition the Maxim to the left and use the Maxim to cover the Su-85 from any kind of danger from the Panzer-equipped infantry. Stern Pioneers looks like they have how did they? Oh no, this is a shoe mine. Okay, I was like, how is this revealed? And it's like they aren't upgraded with a minesweeper. How the fuck? And then it's like, oh, it's a shoe mine. Okay, so the shoe mine will be revealed by the minesweeper engineers. There is a bit of a German push on the left side, thanks to these Volksgrenadiers, but at the same time, it's being countered on the right side by the Soviets. The Maxim should really not be going into this building, because, well, of course, it's very close to being destroyed. And the Maxim looks like it's not... No, it is being used on attack move. Incendiary grenade will be going down on it. It's VET2, so it does have access to sprint ability, and it didn't need to retreat. It could have just sprinted back to this building. But some Obersoldaten are on the field. They have been upgraded with LMGs. The upgrade was kind of late. They were kind of sitting around at the base for a couple of minutes. The Germans still have complete VP control, but the Soviets have been able to push up and harass the center VP a little bit, so the VP bleed hasn't been too dangerous for them. Another supply drop being called in by Vipix. This is definitely a mistake. By this moment, he should have realized that there is a Schwer Panzer quarters, and he's gonna take his chances and actually get really lucky, and the supply drop does go through. So yeah, as you can see, there is a chance of the supply drop actually going through and living the gauntlet of the Schwer Panzer headquarters and the OKW base defenses, but it's a kind of slim chance anyway. which quickly turns to no chance once you start to take into account team games. Any more than one OKW and that supply drop will go down in flames. So I'm not really sure what these common engineers were doing, not really capturing the point. Or rather, I guess they were capturing the point, but the Victrix decided to take cover once he saw the Volkswageners approach. But again, they were never going to beat these Volkswageners in a fight anyway. So there's a lot of resources being pretty much floated by both of the sides. I'm guessing they're just waiting to see what the other is going for to counter. Spander pretty much only now has the resources for a Panzer IV, but I'm really not really sure that it's not going to be a Panzer IV that he's going to go for. Actually, a Jagdpanzer might be a good idea. Looks like the Su-85 was dealing heavy damage to the Puma. The Jagdpanzer will definitely help supporting the Puma against the SUs. But the problem with the Jagdpanzer is, of course, the fact that the Germans right now really need some kind of anti-infantry tool, but they might have enough thanks to the Obersoldaten and the support gun. Zeroing artillery is now available for Spander. Now, another thing that Victrix should right now be doing is using some of this munitions. Instead of using it on supply drops, you could be using it on repair stations. Getting 1 or 2 repair stations at the base would definitely help shorten the repair time of his vehicles and also lighten his micro load of just having to always have the engineers around to repair his vehicles that were damaged. Right now the Germans have the fuel control of the right side, thanks to the Volkswagen harassment earlier on, so the Soviets will need to do something about it, and Maxims are definitely going to help in pushing back the German infantry pushes that are going on in the center. Obersoldaten were pretty much half-ended, I'm really not sure if that's a word, so they will be forced to retreat at base. Very expensive reman, very expensive reinforced, but Spander does have the resources to do it. He's got a lot of manpower. He could probably be going for another Obersoldaten squad. In fact, he does have the munitions to upgrade him as well. He's also got the munitions to upgrade this Volkswagen here, so I'm really not quite sure what he's doing with his munitions. The KV2 will be on the field soon, so that's definitely why Victrix would be wise to conserve his fuel, because he's only 60 fuel away from the KV, which is about 4 minutes, and he's 3/4 of a command point to 14. So, considering the circumstances, in about 4 or 5 minutes, we should be able to see a KV2 on the field, which will definitely be good against what the Germans are bringing to the table right now. It looks like actually Spander is going for a King Tiger. Now, the King Tiger, I'm really not quite sure of it. I would have gone for a Panther in this situation because there's 2 SUs on the field in an anti-tank gun, and he knows this. He's been fighting them for this entire time, so he really should know that this super heavy tank would have a lot of trouble just pushing up back against that line of AT, which means that pretty much all of the resources that he would be getting and would be investing in that unit would be better spent on a faster vehicle, such as the Panther. So the Puma attempting to push up and deal some damage to the SC-76 will be pushed away by the AT gun, but the Germans have made a pretty successful run at recapturing the center. There was also a fight on the left side. The common engineers with minesweepers were attempting to do some harassment on the left side, but the Schwer and the Obersoldaten were easily able to repulse them and recapture the territory for the Germans. The Soviet infantry, though, is still making a bit of a push from the south, along with, looks like one engineer squad went down and was the flamethrower engineer, and was replaced by another engineer squad with minesweepers. Definitely a wise choice to replace the minesweepers. Maxim going to be forced to retreat, and looks like the veteran minesweepers will be wiped out by the Storm Pioneers. Now I'm guessing that was a bit of a misclick, because definitely he noticed what was going on down here, because he retreated the Maxim, but it looks like it might have been a misclick. He wanted to retreat perhaps the engineer and then reposition the Maxim to deal with the flanking Storm Pioneers. Not really quite sure what went down. So some S mines are going down from the Volksgrenadiers, in the center BP, which could definitely be a good idea. But the Soviets do have minesweepers, and also they've got the artillery ability from the SU, so really the S-mines shouldn't be dealing too many casualties if Vipix is paying attention to it. A mortar was actually built by Vipix. Now, I actually kind of agree with this decision. It will not only help in dealing with this minefield, it will also help in dealing with the support gun if you can push it up far enough without fear of flanks or just generally units that could wipe it. So the KV2 is on the field. Yeah, pretty much my prediction was 4 or 5 minutes was accurate. It was about 4 minutes. And we now see the KV2 on the field, which is really good for the Soviets. The KV2, with its sit-down ability, is really good at dealing with infantry. So the Oberstleutnant will finally discover that KV2 is the choice, just in case the enemy OKW player hasn't realized by now that the Soviet industry was the doctrine selection. He now definitely knows. The KV2 will set up in the center, so just in case you don't know, thanks to the SU-85, the KV2 will be pretty much able to shoot up to about here. That's pretty much the range of the KV2. As you can see, now it sees the enemy, and very lucky for the Germans, it misses. So the Soviet infantry will actually hit all the S-mines, and will pretty much only by a pair survive, which is really negligent out of Vipix to not swipe those mines. Excellent shot from the KV2 will almost destroy the Puma. The SU will be in jeopardy from the Panzerschrecks pushing up against it. There's really no defense against this Panzerschreck squad because the KV2, in case you don't know, when it's on sit-down, does have a minimum range of up to about here. So it needs to be set up from the setup mode to fire at the point-blank range, and it will pretty much wipe this Volksreindeer squad, which is Vet 5. Very luckily, will manage to barely escape. The KV2 will attempt one last shot, but no, he doesn't have the range. It would have had to set up and then attack around through the fog of war, which would have been a very low chance of actually hitting anything. So the Germans do have the King Tiger on the field, and also another problem with the King Tiger is that the KV2 is actually fairly decent against it. The King Tiger will pretty much penetrate every shot with the KV2, but the KV2 also has a pretty decent chance of penetrating the King Tiger as well, as you can see, doing fairly significant damage, about 10% of the HP in one shot. The King Tiger dealing a lot more damage than the KV, but the KV also has the range advantage later on, so we have a bit of a flank from the German Storm Pioneers in the north, but there's a lot of Soviet infantry and also the KV2 ready to repulse this flank. This will definitely not go too well for the Germans. The Maxim is also repositioning to make its appearance, and also wiping out one of the Storm Pioneers. Looks like the German infantry that was attempting to storm the south was forced away, but now it's completely rebuilt, so it is ready for another assault. But the King Tiger taking a lot of damage from the SUs, and the AT gun pushing up will definitely make it very hard for this King Tiger to do anything. As you can see, this wasn't too great of an idea. The King Tiger is going to need to go back and repair as soon as possible, but it's actually not going to do that. It's going to push up and attempt to push up along with its Puma support and its infantry, but the Puma will be going down fairly easily from all the AT gun wall, rather the AT wall of the AT gun and SUs. So that's definitely really bad for the Germans. Vet 3 SU-76 will be a bit of a pain to deal with, and soon the SU-85 will Vet 2, which means that it will obtain the extra fire rate and accuracy, which make it a very dangerous unit in the late game. And then the Vet 3 also increases its rate of fire, which means that the SU-85 will be pretty much the KT killer if it reaches Vet 3. Because it will be able to lob very fast and accurate fire against the KT, pretty much one shot every 2 seconds, 2 or 3 seconds from that Vet 3 SU-85 will mean that the KT will have no time to think about anything. It will be constantly under fire. Right now, the main problem for the Soviets right now I just said right now twice, is that the Germans have complete control of all the VPs, and they've had a trouble cap going on them for a long time. Now, what they really need to be doing is, the KV2. What they really need to be doing is making a push at the same time on the right and left side, and right and center, which is exactly what they're doing. The KV2 helping out in securing the center from this counterattack of the Germans, but of course the counterattack is going to fail completely, and one of the truck squads will be wiped. Bet 5 gonna go down. Huge loss for the Germans. The Su-85 is starting to push back against the King Tiger. Soviet infantry barely making it out of the cap alive, managing to neutralize the central VP, and now the Maxim capturing the right side. What I would actually do is actually just leave this Maxim over here, just to cover the VP on the right side and prevent any kind of harassment. Because at this point, by playing the long game, what the Soviets gain is the fact that they have the way superior composition to play a more static game because of the KVs and the SUs. So what they right now could be doing is just simply attempting to survive as long as possible, and soon enough, if they can manage to get the KVSU line up to about here, if they can manage to advance up to about here, then Vipix can actually use the KV to bombard this headquarters on the left, along with the SUs, and then after that, the Soviets will be able to conduct their own harassment maneuvers on the left side. What right now the Soviets could be actually doing as well is using one of their combat engineer squads, sneaking around through this route and getting to the fuel point. The Germans have been able to pretty much keep the fuel point in their control the entirety of the game, and the Schwerer Panzer headquarters doesn't actually cover all this area. The Schwerer Panzer headquarters, by what the range would show you, it could only fire up to about here, but of course this is Relic and they cannot show a range for the life of theirs, because even MGs and houses, you click on them and they will show the wrong range pretty much all the time. The Schwerer can shoot to about here, actually, despite what it says on the, what it would say on the HUD. A T-70 is actually being built by Vipix. I agree. I actually agree with the T-70. The reason he's getting a T-70 is as a counter-harassment / harassment unit, because once it will reach Bed 1, it will be a very fast vehicle that can cap. So he will be able to use it to just go to the left side and capture points. And the way he will get the veterancy, in case you may not know, because of course in the late game you wouldn't be using the T-70 as a frontline unit, is just keeping it on the right side. So if there's any kind of German unit, like a Sturm Pioneer, that attempts to harass the right side fuel point and VP, then the T-70 can easily deal with them. Oh, okay, no, actually I see what he's doing. He's gonna use recon mode on it. Now, the T-70 obviously does have the recon mode, which at this point would be inferior to the Su-85's focus sight. Because, well, the Su-85's focus sight does see farther. But once the T-70 reaches Bet 2, which will do fairly easily once it starts to deal damage to his Obersoldat, once the T-70 reaches Bet 2, it will also have increased line of sight from the recon mode. So that's another reason to get a T-70 at this point. So this T-70 is actually a very smart purchase that not many players would make. So very much props to Vipix for making that purchase. The KV2 is up to 20 kills, and is almost up to Bet 2, which is pretty much the main veterancy breakthrough of the KV2, because it will increase its range and its accuracy, I believe. It says vehicle targeting. I knew about the range, but I'm not sure about the accuracy, which is definitely excellent, because there's pretty much every unit in the game has a what I would call a breakthrough vet that just gives it a very important ability that it before didn't have. For example, the T-70 is also bet 2 because it does gain that increased line of sight from that recon mode, which allows it to maintain its usefulness even later on in the game, when its main gun is basically useless. And the Su-85 is the bet 2 as well for its increased accuracy and especially rate of fire. Whereas, for example, the Maxim is bet 1 because at bet 1 it gains the sprint ability to reposition much quicker. So right now the Germans are in a very, very big, pretty much trouble, and they've got a lot of problems going on for them. because they cannot break this line. There's pretty much nothing they can do to break this because of their King Tiger purchase. If there right now were like 2 Panthers on the field, it would be fairly easy to just send one to the right side, send one to the left side, converge on the Soviet infantry and vehicles from 2 sides, focus down the Su-85, push in with the infantry from the center, and destroy the KV as well. But at the same time, now there's only a KV, and well, the KV, King Tiger, KT, and now there's nothing that can break this line. Because it's pretty much just like a brick, and well, the way you defeat a brick is you wrap your hands around it and you throw it away, but right now, it's like if the Germans had lost, instead of just like chosen to cut off their own thumb, so they cannot wrap their fingers around it anymore, and if that analogy makes any sense at all. So as you can see, exactly what I predicted was going to happen happened, and the KV line, KVSU line, managed to push up to here, and it was in range of the Schwer, and the Schwer is now gone because of the fire from the SUs, the mortar, and the KV. So right now the Soviet infantry has managed to recapture the left side VP and the left side field point. So now there's a triple cap going for the Soviets. And if the game will continue going the same way as it is, I believe that they will maintain this triple cap for a long time. And they've pretty much got 5 minutes and a half to go until they win, if they can keep the vet-free. Vet-free. What am I talking about? The cap, the triple cap up. What is Ra? Why is he Ryan? Oh, just random S-mine. Will deal some damage. Rakenwerfer stealthed. Will be attempting to push up against the T-70. No, T-70 will probably go down. Oh no, actually, excellent shot from the KV2. Will destroy the crew of the Rakenwerfer, and the SUs will be attack rounded on the Rakenwerfer. That's just excellent play, because there's a lot of players in this game that don't attack round vehicles. Now, destroyed weapons, as the SUs just deal a shitload of damage on the King Tiger. As you can see, this is the power of the veteran SU. It can just chase, it down. And I believe one of the, I believe the vet-free of the Su-85 also increases its speed in focus sight by a little bit, which also allows it to push against the King Tiger fairly easily. As you can see, it could just chase the King Tiger, and there was nothing the Germans could do. Now, there was also a Jagdpanzer being built earlier. Oh, right, the Jagdpanzer was cancelled by the destruction of the Schwer, and now he's building the second Schwer in an even more vulnerable location. If the SUs were to just push up to about here, they could easily destroy this Schwer Panther headquarters. So, I really don't think that the second Schwer is a good purchase, at least not in the position that you put it in. You could have put it in even in the base over here would be a way better decision, even though it would probably block the spawn point over here. Now the reason he has made that purchase is that he has to, because he's already built the King Tiger, so he really needs the tech to get more units out in the field, but his situation right now is, in my opinion, impossible to come back from. Unless he can get an excellent zeroing artillery going on the Soviet units, because remember, the zeroing artillery is excellent in dealing with static concentrations of force, which is exactly what this is. This pretty much just line of battle is very vulnerable to good zeroing artillery. And the only way I see the Germans coming back into this, if they had been able to get out a Panther instead of the Jagdpanzer, if they had been able to actually get it out, and they could have made one last final push with the zeroing artillery along with the Panther. But right now they will be having to settle for another Jagdpanzer purchase from the rebuilt Schwer Panther headquarters. Looks like an MG-34 somehow managed to sneak around the Soviet line and is capturing, and somehow there's nothing going against it. The T-70 is repaired, and it's now going and gonna attempt to counter-harass this machine gun. As you can see, it's almost up to Vet 2. It will now be up to Vet 2 once it decides to go out of recon mode and actually fire the MG. Not really sure when that's gonna be. Now. So now it's gonna be what? Okay, now it's Vet 2. It just gained no experience from killing that guy. You know you're useless when you don't get many XP when you die. Rip. So now he will finally be vet 2, and that will allow him to get a lot more vision range out of that vet 2. Because of course, reasoning for this composition being so strong for the Soviet industry is that the KV2, while it is very powerful in sit-down mode, firing positions, whatever the fuck it's supposed to be called, while it is very powerful in that, they do not have any line of it doesn't have any line of sight once it goes into that mode. Because as you can see, the line of sight of the KV2 is obviously supposed to be this guy out of the hatch, this officer guy, tank commander, looking out of the hatch with a binocular, and somehow the KV doesn't really have any vision slits inside, apparently, according to Relic Realism. So once it goes into sit-down mode and the commander goes back into the hatch, as you can see, the animation is kind of cool actually. There's pretty much no line of sight for the KV2, so it needs supporting units at that point. And the perfect supporting unit is something like what just died, the Jagdpanzer. As you can see, that's actually a very good pickup for the Germans. The trade of the Jagdpanzer for the Su-85 is really good, but it looks like they will attempt to also use the King Tiger, attempt to push up with the King Tiger. There's also the death of the support gun, or rather the ZIS field gun, to take into account from the Obersoldat push. The King Tiger will also be able to destroy the Su-76, but the King Tiger will be in very, very big trouble from the KV2. Actually, the KV2 round will bounce. That's actually really bad because there's a lot of Soviet infantry being idle, not really doing much. And the KV2 isn't in a fight for its life against the King Tiger, but the KV2 will be able to send one last 152mm round into the front of the King Tiger, and the Volksgrenadiers that were firing at it looks like were wiped by the T-70, along with T-70 almost wiping this one Obersoldat, and the T-70 now going to push up along with a Vickers machine gun, and the KV will be easily able to shoot back to repair stations and repair easily, almost up to vet free. Vipix has also a lot of munitions, so he could be using his engineers to mine and demo charge pretty much all of the points on the map, and that would definitely help out in continuing the VP lead and resource lead he does have. And right now the Germans have pretty much nothing. They've got really nothing to push now because, well, they have the Obersoldat, and that could deal with the Soviet infantry, but they have really nothing to do even with the T-70. They have one Shrek squad to do that, but even that will not be enough, and the Soviets will have rebuilt their force pretty much completely by the time they have managed to get any kind of armor on the field. And, well, even before, the Soviets will have completely rebuilt up to 100 pop cap, and the Germans really have nothing to match that. The KV is now going to push up, and there's really nothing that the Germans can do. So, what could the Germans have done differently? I've touched upon this a little bit already, but in general, my thoughts are Panthers instead of the King Tiger, because the King Tiger is kind of weak in its build because of its slow speed, allowing the SUs a lot of time to just shoot at it. Possibly going for a more conservative share location at the first time, possibly going for a Panther instead the first time, instead of the Jagdpanzer, and potentially protect the headquarters a little bit better. And then once the Panther was on the field, making a big push using the zeroing artillery, because the zeroing artillery would have done a lot of damage to the Soviet static line, rather a semi-static line. Other than that, perhaps a little bit less of the random one unit pushing into the center, and a little bit more of the one unit harassment on the right side would have been really, really nice for him. Other than that, really not much. He played the early game fairly well. He started to waver on the unit preservation later on, but against the KV2, there's really not much you can do to improve your unit preservation. You just need to be very careful at where you move your units, because of if they just go in any kind of location where they're going to bunch up, the models are going to bunch up, then the KV is just going to kill them. There's really nothing you can do at that point. So you need to be very careful about where you move KV up to 45 kills, which is an excellent kill count for the KV. So I want to thank Vipix for uploading the replay. Pretty good match, showcasing just why the Soviet infantry is one of my favorite doctrines for the Soviets. Other than that, I hope you enjoyed the cast, I hope you got something from it, and I hope you enjoyed The Surrender Will Go Down, and that's a GG. I'll see you soon.